I want to die. And when you're with Mr. Roy,
Hello again.
hi.
Looking for some.
So that's still not playing very smoothly, is it? Really unsure what to do at this point. But anyway, you're here with me now. So let's work on some color grading. And let's pick up where I left off last time. Let's go to our Resolve lighting, which actually it gets much, much darker in here, but the webcam compensates for it. It makes it a lot easier for you to see me. It's very bizarre. Anyway, so here we are. So let's go to the screen. Okay, and so what we were doing last time was we were looking at this store stuff. So I have everything grouped into groups, and the way groups work in Resolve is so typically in Resolve by default you can do nodes, a set of color grading, color correction at the clip level. So that says clip. And then there's also the timeline level. So the clip obviously works only for that clip, and then the timeline would work for your whole movie, your whole project. When you group things into groups, then you also get two more settings, which is group pre-clip and group post-clip. And so what that allows you to do is take a bunch of clips. For instance, these here at the campsite, okay, are all sort of grouped together. And these here at the campsite, we put them in a group together and we will look at them. And in group pre-clip, what I'm doing is I'm doing my color correction, and I'm doing it to every, when you do it in the group pre-clip, it does it to every clip in that group. And then you can do the clip setting. So each individual clip you can go through and tweak, because you might have some differences clip to clip, or you might have, each individual clip you might want to do some face tracking or something like that, something that's peculiar only to that clip. Maybe there's a shot of something where there's a special color and you just want to deal with that once the color correction stuff is done on the front end. And so the creative grade is kind of put on top, and then you do just a little bit of tweaking per clip there. Then you have the timeline layer, which is everything in your movie. So the group stuff can be really very handy when used correctly. So one thing that I'm noticing right now is I wanted to do all the stuff for exterior store, okay? And if you look down here in the clips, I can see with these little green, it's probably hard for you to see, the little res, but there's a little green, maybe see it better now. There's like a little green chain link, and that means all these clips are in that group. And this is all the stuff that's exterior store, so I would expect all those things of course, to be in that group. But I'm seeing other things that have this green chain link as well. And so what that is telling me is that all of these clips are also in that group. So this is not an exterior store group. Actually, this is probably like exterior day. And so I need to break these out into separate groups. So what I've done is working really well for exterior store. But like if I go and start looking at the stuff with the campsite, you know, is it corrected as well? I can look at my scopes here. Let me pop those out so you can see them. I can look at my scopes and see, yeah, this stuff's pretty blue and maybe not as corrected as I would like to proceed. So all this stuff needs to be separated out. I started with big groups, deciding I can always break things into smaller groups along the way. That's you know, one way to do it. It's really not easier or harder any other way, I don't guess. But okay, so what I want to do is, and so I'm pretty happy with it color correction wise. So I want to keep this for my exterior store stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to just rename this group exterior store. So let's go into, actually, here's what we're going to do is we're going to take, yeah. So we're going to go into, we're going to right click here and go to groups. And yeah, it's just on regular B-Raw exterior day. This is like the first group that I made, just putting all the exterior day stuff in there. We're going to rename this group. And the group name is going to be B-Raw exterior day store. Because I do have a couple other scenes that happen outside of the store that I will want, that we shot on the same day with these same camera settings, that I want to come back to this same look. Probably be pretty close for this. And so we'll hit OK. All right. When I do that, everything else is still linked because this is still just changing. This is just changing the name of the group. I'm not creating a separate group. But now I'm ready to actually make another group. So the first thing that I can do is I can limit my clips down in the bottom to only the exterior store stuff. So exterior day store, there we go. So now everything in the timeline is, now a lot of the film is exterior day. So you're going to see a ton of stuff down here. So I'm going to take these two clips here. These were shot on the way to Teleco. They were shot in December. They were shot with my parents. They were shot completely separate from the movie and cut in. It's just like B-roll stuff. So we're going to put those in their own group. I suspect they'll likely be the same as each other, but I also suspect they'll likely be very different from anything else in the film. So we're going to right click on those and we're going to go, and that's fine because I can copy and paste from other things later. All right, next in line is all this stuff here, and this is all campsite stuff. And so I'm going to go all the way to here and select all those. And I'm going to see if I already have an exterior campsite day. I have a night camp, I have dusk, and exterior cabin day. I wish I could organize this group list. There's probably some way to do that, but I don't know how to do it. So yeah, just a reminder that I'm not an expert here. I'm learning. You're watching me learn. So I'm just going to create a new group, add into new group, and we're going to call this B-Raw exterior day campsite. And we'll hit OK on that. You'll see the colors change there. Okay. Next two shots are more Teleco shots. So I'll select those. So I will come back to those later. These are exterior store. I might break these out separate into their own separate groups since it is a different scene later in the day. The first one's like early in the morning. This one is later in the afternoon. And I might want this one warmer. But for now, I'm going to leave it. So let's look at this shot. This is more campsite stuff. And this is still technically day. But I think I'm going to create a group called Campsite Afternoon. Campsite Afternoon. And I'm going to leave this stuff of her in the tent as part of that group for now. And Campsite Afternoon goes pretty much up until, yeah, the campsite dusk stuff begins after this. So we're going to add into a new group, B-raw exterior afternoon camp. All right. And then this somehow is not in the right group. Night exterior truck, exterior dusk, exterior night, B-raw van, exterior church, exterior cabin day. Okay, I guess not. So there's probably stuff at the beginning of the timeline that I'm also gonna have to take out. So let's select all this stuff here that would be included in this moment, which would be all the way to here. And this is going to be, we're going to add into a new group. We're going to call it B-raw exterior city day. Okay. And you see the colors change on that. All right. Now then we're looking at, this is, I guess we'll just go ahead and make a new group just for these. Probably going to be very similar. Man, getting lots of disconnections. And I can see that it's pretty laggy, and I'm sorry, I don't know what to do about it. So that is that. So apparently I already had all that driving stuff before this and something else. So let's go back to group. I'm going to select B-raw day store again, and now you'll see all that other stuff has disappeared from the clips list, and everything that I have down here is now actually exterior store. And I just want to check. I'm going to go to one of these clips that looks good, and I'm going to look at the raw settings, and I've got it at 6050 ISO 320. Oh, these are also at 6000. So I'm probably going to have to separate these out because look how blue this stuff is. In fact, this is at 6600, which is crazy. So I guess I'm going to have to. There we go. Okay, so one thing that I can do in this group pre-clip setting is I think I can go to my color and apply grade from one clip prior. Is that going to give me a group? No, that's just going to bring the clip settings over. That did nothing. Oh well. Never mind. Oh, I bet it did it. Yeah. Back to exterior day store. There we go. And I'll just click on one of these that I like here, and we'll just get on a nice frame. Okay, that's a decent frame. And so now I'm going to use my panel here. I'm going to use my panel, and I'm going to grab a still of that. And when I do, it says over here, 132 1 pre, and so that is video track 1, shot 132, version 1, and it is the group pre-clip node graph settings. So that's how it automatically names it. If I want to, I can right click on this and I can hit change label. I'm going to go to show all clips in the timeline here. And, oh no, actually I made a different group, didn't I? So we're going to go to group, and we're going to go to exterior store afternoon. And so these clips are going to be similar because they were shot, you know, exterior store afternoon, but they're not going to be the same. So let's now apply these settings. So in the group pre-clip, I'm going to go over here to pre, I'm going to right click, and I'm going to hit append node graph. And then I'm going to hit delete, which is going to delete the empty node that we started with. And this does not yet look right, but we're going to take care of that in a minute. Okay. All right. So now this is not at all how I want it to look. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to our timeline. Go to our, disable timeline filter. Oh, so I guess we have to take off, we have to show all clips. That's fine. And we're going to go to timeline, and we're going to make sure everything's off in timeline. I still have all of my timeline stuff off, so that's good. We're going to go to group post clip, and I'm actually going to disable all of these, which there's not much change, if anything. I don't think I really had done much. Looks like maybe excellent. All right, and I think that, so I'm going to put this back on my group. Yeah, current group. That's quick. That's nice. Okay, and we're going to change this to 320 and 6,000 and I don't know, 0.33 actually was probably pretty good. And we're going to make sure everything that follows uses those same settings. The one difference might be this shot. Brighten that up just a smidge. I don't know. I don't want to start losing detail in her fingers. All right, let's take a look at this shot here. This is already at 6,000. The tint is 5. All right. This one as well. And we'll start it at 0. Okay. Now this is a nice wide shot, and I do have some white things in frame here, so I am tempted to start here with the color balancing, but yeah, not sure. So I'm going to turn on the balance Luma here, and right away I can see that I need to make some changes. So I want to pull my lift off the ground. I've got my lift laying too flat down there. So now I am going to go to my primary wheels. It will still work without the primary wheels being visibly active, but I like to see down there, exactly what I'm doing. All right. And now I just want to make sure what this looks like as I go through and look at these other clips. Is this representative of everything else? Answer is kind of maybe not. This is not a drone shot. This is a B-roll shot. So I think we did this on top of a ladder, or I was standing in a truck or something, I think. So, maybe a shot like this is more representative of the rest of the scene. Maybe I do have to end up breaking out that other shot. I think this one will definitely determine where my lift is. And actually the lift is pretty good. I mean, it's down real close to the bottom, I do want the white outside the window blown out, but it's like you can see on the scope, it is like right up at the top. And everything is pretty blue, even though my color temperature is set at 6,000. So why is this? Well, the main reason is because we filmed outside in the sun. Sunlight is blue, and typically sunlight is 5,600 Kelvin. But because we're in the shade, and then they're in shade in the shade, it's going to be even bluer. So blue wavelength light is very low wavelength that bounces around and bounces around. And as it bounces and bounces around, it gets bluer and bluer and bluer. Hey, what's happening? Welcome. It's super laggy and lots of dropouts today. I think it's actually both, because the dropouts happen more often during the day when more people in my neighborhood would be using the internet or whatever. So I have a super fast connection, but the way Xfinity does their internet, the way it's shared, it can drop a lot when you have a lot of traffic going on. So at some point, compensate for that. All right, let's go on and let's turn on our balance color, and you see everything got very strange, so we're going to have to fix that. So I think probably the easiest thing to do here is just reset this node and start over. So let's reset the, oh, dadgummit. Let's undo that. Let's make sure we have the correct node selected. There we go. And now we will reset that node. There we go. Okay. So the white part of the truck is actually like a cream color, so it's gonna be a little, it's gonna have a little brown yellow in it. So this bar across the top, it's going to be hard to trust. Again, they're in the shade. It should be maybe a little bluer and not pure white. So I'm going to start with the sky out here and see if we can't make that kind of a pure white a little bit. I think that overall we just need some color temperature change. So I'm actually going to go to my HDR wheels. I think Colin Kelly said that the color temperature in the HDR is a little more faithful. So we're going to make a change there, and we're just going to warm it up a little bit. And you can see those lines getting closer to each other. So 200 seems maybe like that might be okay. Let's go back to our regular primaries. All right, so now I'm still looking at this sky and the top here, and it's got too much blue in the top. So I'm going to go away from blue by going towards yellow on my gain wheel. And the circles here don't live update, so you got to keep moving them. All right, the green has gotten higher, but the red has not. So let's add some red by going up and out. There we go. And I want to take out just a little bit of that blue. All right, now we're getting somewhere. That's looking like something. Let's check the next clip, which is the reverse shot. And sky there is pretty well right on white. Maybe you know, it looks like we got too much red in our highlights, so let's pull that back. And let's put some blue back in just a little bit. We'll take some of that blue back out when we do the creative grade. It's a little closer. Take a little more blue out of the midtones, kind of warm it up a little more. Individual with a node inside of the clip level. That's okay. Let's check this shot just for fun. That's looking pretty good. Her shirt here is gray. So it looks like we need maybe to add some of that red back into the midtones a little. Yeah. All right. This is looking decent, looking good. Black cherry soda looks like black cherry. This wide shot, let's see how that's looking. Okay, the truck, our values too. Oh, that looks pretty good. Yeah, actually like that. That's looking good. Her face is pretty dark in this, but I mean she's in the shade, so it's going to be darker. You know, it should look darker. So, all right. So the last thing is go look at this shot. This shot itself looks pretty warm, but we can fix that when we get to the clip level. All right. So now then, contrast. So let's start. We'll start here, and we'll just turn this contrast node on and see the change. Looks like a little less contrast actually. And so once again, oh yeah, contrast is turned way down. So I'm just going to reset this. Oh, and I've got a contrast curve down there. Interesting. Okay. I'm not going to reset my curve. I am going to push the contrast button, which is going to reset contrast. So right now contrast is set at 959. I'm going to push it, and now it's back at 1. I'm actually going to increase the contrast a little. And I want to go back to some of these opening shots and kind of see. Yeah, so I think I can bring my lift back down now to get some of that darker end back in the shadows. Oh, yeah. Bring my gamma down just a hair. Pretty good. All right, last then is this sat node that we're going to turn on. It's currently disabled. And where do I want saturation? So her hair might be just a little too saturated. It's a little too red. You can kind of see that in the scopes there if the red circle is like off the charts. So I may need to go into each of these clips from this angle and take some of the red out of the midtones, which is fine. But I don't know that it's oversaturated necessarily. It is a little saturation on. See what kind of change we get. You know, that might take care of my red issue. I think it might be a little too much. A little too much maybe. And so yeah, I've got the gamma turned down a little bit. Let me turn the gamma back up just a hair. There we go. So disabled, enabled. Now let's go to the group post clip and just sort of turn things on one at a time here and start putting a creative grade on this. So the very first thing is going to be some exposure temperature stuff. I think I want this to be, and we need to go to our timeline settings as well. So we'll need to go back to all clips so we can turn our timeline, go to our timeline settings. And I want to turn all of our looks here on because you see how much warmer it got as soon as we put that film LUT on it. And so I want our creative grade to have that LUT on so that we're compensating correctly for that. So let's go back to group post clip. And this is now the current final look of this shot. So if there's anything that doesn't look right now, now's the time to change it. So we're going to start here with our exposure temperature. We're going to go to our HDR wheel where we've already done a little bit of work. And I'm going to pull my exposure up. And then I really want to go over one more, I think, and get my highlights. I think the highlights I'm going to want to pull on. And that's pretty nice. If I disable that node, here it is coming in, and here it is now adjusted. All I've done is just some exposure stuff. Color temperature, I might actually pull it back a little bit on the color temperature. Which I've already added 300. Oh yeah, so that's one reason, I guess. So let's set that to 0. Yeah, off just a little bit. And let's go back and isolate our group here. Current group. There we go. And now I can just look at other clips in the scenario. I really like this LUT, but it does kind of sepia everything out in the middle. So I don't want to lose my color contrast. Some of that is I didn't necessarily shoot this the best, but all right, so let's go to our contrast node. Let's turn that on. Or I added some contrast back. I think contrast is looking decent. I still want to maybe that's better. Maybe we like that better as opposed to this. I don't know. It just kind of makes the dark side look purpley. It doesn't really improve anything else, does it? So maybe I'll leave that alone. But I feel like there's a lot of color in the original, and the LUT looks great, but I lose a lot of my color. I just want to see what all, is it all that LUT? And one thing I can do is I can reduce the power of the LUT on the output. I could put it at 0.5. But I think that looks worse. Yeah, we'll leave it at 0.8, I guess. Sharpening is just doing some sharpening. Halation is just doing some glow around the top end stuff. I'm going to need to edit that a little bit at some point, but anyway, all right, back to the group post clip. Next is Cine Sat. And yeah, I mean, I don't hate anything here. I'm going to go back into my group pre-clip and the color balance. What if I hit it with a 0 tint? It's about the same, right? Not enough of a change. It's just all this color and too much. Okay, I like that better. Look at the scopes. You know, everything looks pretty decent. So now let's start doing things clip by clip and seeing what we want to do at the clip level. And we'll just start here at the top. And the first thing that we can do here is I'm just going to adjust the color temperature of this whole shot to 5600. Actually, I hated that, so let's put that back. And already liking that better. I want to take my color. Already liking that better. I want to take my color temperature blue. Temperature blue. So this starts to better match the. So this starts to better match the shot that will follow. Oh, and one way I can match these shots, of course, is follow. Oh, and one way I can match these shots, of course, is I'll go to my reference still gallery here. And I will go to this shot, which is going to immediately this wall to be the same, not as this wall to be the same, not as the lit part, but as the shaded part there. The lit part, but as the shaded part there. Color-wise, it's not bad, actually. So let's pull this out farther. And I mean, if anything, it looks like I need to window the next shot and up the contrast, everything outside the window. Oh, Dad, blame it. Wrong panel. There we go, primaries. It's starting to look much better. Okay, so we go there, and then we cut to this shot. So we're at the end of this shot. Man, that's going to be a tough match because, I mean, she's in the sun there. And you can see how dark the truck is. And then we cut to this. I'm just going to have to kind of window it out, I guess. So let's do that. Let's do that. Let's go to our fixed node tree. Let's append the node graph. Let's delete the empty node and curve. And I've got my window tool. I wonder, can I just start drawing? No. So then let's add a curve. There we go. Oh, it gives me a pen tool. Perfect. All right, and let's start. There we go. There we go. That's what I need. Straight here, and then something like that. Come back and fix that in a minute. Great. All right, now I want everything outside of that. And everything outside of that, I'm going to, let's do, in our primaries, let's darken. Oh, this is where, let's go back to the previous frame. And let's go to our reference stills. And let's grab a still of that. And go to next frame and hit play still. Okay, there we go. And now that's not terrible. I'll warm it up just a smidge. I've got to deal with this and whatnot, but So let's go back to window mode here. And let's just start adding some stuff in here. I guess it's like the anchor point, so I guess I can't really delete that, which is kind of a bummer. Okay, so this, turn the highlight off. Turn the gain down on my key output here. There's a color difference too, right? It's like it's a little more yellow. Obviously, there's big so I'm going to need to go to where the door starts to open. Right here. And now we start doing some tracking. Let's go back to our window shot here. And so I wonder if I were to track this window, what it would do. So let's find out. Just save my project real quick. And I believe it is shift down, add window, which is track forward and back. Yeah, that's not at all what I want to have happen. Yeah. So we can just stop that and undo. Yes. Okay. So let's go back to, I don't know what that is. I don't know what I'm moving here. Why do I feel like I have two windows here? Not sure what I'm moving there. Oh, that's like the softening. I see. Crazy, crazy. Okay. Ah, I knew there was a way to do that. You got to hold down command. Excellent. Okay, all right. So it's actually pretty nice because once you turn softening on, you can. All right, kind of slows down there a little bit. So now we just have to hand rotoscope all this stuff, I guess, basically. This is going to require some major tweening en route. But this gets us to where, you know, the window is straight. The thing is, once the door passes, I'm not super sure what to do. So all this may be for naught, because I may end up deciding this is way more trouble than it's worth. But because once the door passes the frame, we're still looking at her. And she's the same. It's not like there's a glass window here. All right. Okay. Guess that's what I'm really saying. Where's my pen? I mean, after all, that's what I'm doing, is just trying to frame her. Of course, she's going to stand up. Man, this is just... I think I'm going to end up deciding this was not the right thing to do. Because once this door passes, so here's the real question. let's see, there's a way to, I can copy that node and then I can just paste it on here, I think. Yeah. So what if I just did that for the whole shot? Those look like they match, right? From there to there. So I should have just done it in the first place. Should have just done that in the first place. It's okay, we're learning. And how does it look once she gets up out of the truck? That's a little dark. That's okay. Yeah, let's maybe pull the, kind of almost need that darker, more saturated. Ah. I can also edit this shot here and make it less warm, which I think I've already done. I can just do more. That's better. I think I can live with that better. All right, so then the next clip is after the store scene. So these are kind of separate from those first two shots. And it's still looking very red in the bottom end. But some of that is this shot from this side. So let's look at this. Nah, it's got some red in the bottom end too. So let's just go to the, well, I don't want to mess up all of my, yeah. All right, previous clip settings, go to my fixed node tree, append node graph, delete my default, empty node, and clean up node graph, and now I'm ready to work. And so I'm going to go to my clip balance node here, and I'm going to pull some red out of the bottom end, and I'm just going to use my, okay, so now if I disable that node, here's what it looked like before, here's what it looks like now. I think that's a better, a little more faithful representation of what it should look like. I think that looks better. I think the top end has a little green in it, so I'm going to take a little green out of the top by going towards magenta just a little. Actually, I might just go towards red. I want to keep the yellow there. So here's coming in, and here's after those changes. Okay, so it's subtle, but it's there. It's good. And go to our HDR wheels. And let's turn our shadows down. Oh, that's nice. I like that. Bring the light down just a little. Take our highlights up. That looks pretty good. Not a whole lot I want to do to that. I'll probably do some cropping or something on that, but exposure, color, all that I think looks decent. Let's go to the next clip and let's see what the shot of Gwen looks like. Oh, well, we haven't copied that stuff over. So go to the next clip and we will go to the color. And I think it's shift equals from one clip prior. Yep, there we go. Shift equals. There we go. Okay. Not bad. I am going to go to the balance here and take the color temperature up like 4. Feels like a good match to me. So now then I just have to make sure and copy all the right grades to the right places. So I think I can just come down here. Let's pick this clip that's got the right thing, and then I'm going to select this, 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 and this. And if I right click and hit apply grade, apply grade. Yep. No, that erased my grade. That is crazy. Well, good thing I backed that up. Okay, so... Oh, I right-clicked on this one. This was the grade that I applied to all those clips. Okay, interesting. So let's do this then. I've only got this clip selected. I'll right-click here and hit apply grade. Looks amazing. Looks fantastic. Okay, so now we've got this one, and we're going to grab a still of that just to back it up. But all we got to do is just select all the shots from the same angle. Go back to the one that has the grade that we want, right click and click apply grade. Replace existing grades, yes. And it's done. Lovely. And we'll click save. And with that, it's time to take a break. I'm going to get a little more coffee. I'm going to step outside and get some sunshine, some fresh air, maybe pet a chicken. go back to our Resolve lighting. Whoa, whoa. Let's do, let's see, let's snooze that for 1 hour. Close that. Just trying to get some work done today. Working on the movie. And we'll go to the screen. Gorgeous. Perfect. Now I can see what we're doing. Okay. All right, I'm happy with this group. All right, now there's 2 scenes. There's this one, which is just 2 shots. But you see the whole store pretty much. And then there is this scene that follows, which, you know, already is just looking really good. But we need to do all the things that we need to do to it. So, and that will be the entire afternoon scene. So my bet is once we get this scene looking right, that first scene will also look good. So let's find a good representative shot here. Like, we're going to look at our... Okay, I just want to make sure that my raw settings remain where they are, because the raw settings are actually in a pretty decent place. So I think what I'm going to do, rather than applying the grade, is I'm just going to right-click on this and display the node graph. So this is going to show me the actual node graph that I have saved in that still. And I'm going to zoom. There we go. So I've got a balanced luma, balanced color, balanced contrast, and a balanced saturation. Everything else is okay. So really I just need to add 3 more nodes. So I'm going to click out here. And this may not be what I wanted to do necessarily. It's interesting that this cropping has been something weird with this cropping. Is that every version of that shot? Nope, just this one that somehow I have done something to the sizing. Let's go to the sizing. That sizing's all good. Editing sizing is zeros all the way across. That's output sizing's not going to change. I don't know what happened to this particular shot, but I think I'm going to have to go to my edit window. Ah, interesting. I wonder if it's because it's on this video too. It must not have gotten selected at some point when I did what I did, which is retime and scale. Retime and scaling. Aha! Scaling. Fill. Boom. Got it all figured out. No problem. No problem. I have to keep an eye on that as we go clip to clip throughout the film, but that's okay. All right, so I can go back to my color page now. And go to my group post clip. And let's go ahead and yeah, so I'm just going to append the grade, append node graph, and I will delete those. Oh, come on. There we go. All right, there we go. And clean up node graph. Hello. Perfect. All right, when I hit bypass, oh, maybe there's something in the clip. No? Something there, right? Come on. Okay, group pre-clip. Oh, I guess I need. Oh, because there's stuff here. Yeah. So let's turn these off. There we go. So now if I bypass, there's no difference at all. Perfect. That's what we want. Okay, so now I go to group pre-clip. Get my scopes where you can see them here. Okay. And so now we're just going to go one at a time, or we're going to start with balance luma, and let's turn it on. And see, it's at 896. It's not. This is not at the top of the scale, and it should be. This should be close to the top, and it isn't. Excuse me. Here's a hot spot on this bottle. That should be close to the top. It's close, but I mean, it should be like at the top. This hot spot should be at the top, and it's just not. So we need to do a little bit of work here. So let's take the top up. So we're taking the gain up. Let's just make sure that we're on our primary wheels here. And yes, we are. Okay. Just taking our gain up. Now let's go to another shot. Where are we? Yeah, so let's go to the next clip. Okay, and the next clip. Yeah, like these obviously should. All right. Kind of like how that looks. Let's look at this shot again. Oh, that's looking better than it did a second ago. Actually, it looks pretty good. Go here, and that looks good. So let's say that's done on the luma. I'm happy with that. So we'll go to the next node, which is the balance color. And we see there's a lot of red, green, blue banding in here, and there should be a lot of mostly grayish kind of stuff going on here, right? So let's find something that should be kind of gray for a lot of it, right? By just adjusting the color temperature 150. So this should be whitish. It's pretty whitish. This should be whitish, grayish. It's pretty grayish. This should be white. Still think that should be higher up in the register, but all right, so it looks like my top end is a little blue, so I'm going to take a little bit of blue out by going towards sort of the skin tone value there. All right, that was good. Let's see, this should be somewhere kind of in the middle. And this looks like it's a little too warm, so I'm going to come off the skin tone angle in the mids. Come back off it just a little. Add some of that red back. I don't like those last couple of moves I made. Let me take those back up. We can leave that blue. That's okay. This is too yellowy. This is too warm. So I just want to take out a little bit of that yellow, just a little. All right. Skin tone here is too pink. I mean, he's got a little bit pinky kind of skin, but that's too much. But then her, I don't want to take too much pink out of her skin. Take just a little pink. A little yellow out of the midtones. It's a little better. Let's look at the bottom end. A little yellow, yeah. That should be black-ish. It's a little blue in the bottom end, but I guess it's all right. This should be kind of reddish mahogany, yeah. All right, so if I disable this node and re-enable it, the color change is so subtle, because it was real close to begin with. But you can see in the scopes some things here that are banded that when you turn on the balance color, they sort of pop into place. But like this right here, what is that is all, oh, this right here, yeah, okay. This should be, I just don't think it should be, shouldn't have that much green in it. And go towards magenta just a little bit in the top end. Much better, much better. Uh-oh, got away from me. Boom, there we go. Okay. gray, maybe a little warm. It's actually a little cold. This is blackish. Looks like it's a little blue. Looks like we got a little blue light on her. I can fix that with a little window, but overall this is not bad, not bad. And next clip on him. Yeah, so like the shots of him are going to need just a little bit of blue to compensate for this warm light that's on him. Again, I'll be able to do all that with windows, I think. So this is actually pretty good. So contrast now. Contrast, actually going to reset the contrast. And I'll take it up a little bit. On and see what happens. Pretty much knock down everything that I just mentioned without overall changing the quality of the image. Let's look at our next photos. Yeah. Yeah. So problem is, and I want to check. Let's look at this shot of Tommy. I don't know. That looks pretty good. Excuse me. Just like that. Pull it way up to see what the effect is. So pull my lift way up. Obviously going to undo that. When I reset this node, I forgot. It resets everything. So I need to go back and change it back to an HSV with channel 1 off and channel 3 off. So we're doing just saturation. Okay. Now I'm going to take my lift way up. That is so crazy looking. I'm going to take my lift way down. That is so weird too. All right, let's reset this node. One more time. Let's try this again. This is a color space HSV. Channel 1 off. Channel 2, channel 3 off. So it's only channel 2 should be operational. And it should be an HSV node. Okay, so now if I move gamma, I'm on the primary wheels. If I move the gamma and the gain, this should have to do with saturation. Okay, it's working correctly now. I think that looks nice. Let's look at some other shots here. Yeah, see, this is like super. I think this, because it's a close-up, I'm going to have to sort of handle it independently, but and if I do move the lift, it's so subtle. I think I just kind of put it back where it was. It's doing a little bit. Let's look at a shot like this here. We've also got like color boost, like a vibrance thing here. Oh, doesn't that look terrible? Let's reset that. Interesting. Oh, I've qualified this somehow. How did that happen? Oh, because I had the qualifier tool. Yeah, did not mean to do that. Oh, brother. All right. Color actually is not, it's not bad. It's pretty warm in the middle, but that's okay. Balance contrast on. Oh, that looks so much better than it did a minute ago. All right, so now I'm going to turn the contrast down a little, actually. Now that we're dealing with the appropriate issues. So that we can do this again. So what shot do I want to use as my go-to? I think the shot of Tommy was working really nice. Like here. This one. There we go. All right, let's see what the lift does. That's crazy. That's also crazy. Reset lift. I want to take my lift down just a little. All right. You know your saturation must have been pretty good to begin with. When you get done and it looks basically the same as it did before. It's like making zero change whatsoever. So it's doing a little something, I guess. I mean, the scopes are moving. So it's doing something. Ivory wall makes it look like one of these is wrong. I legitimately think it's two different color walls. I guess the way that we can know for sure is if we look at this wide shot where she's walking in here. Here. So that's ivory over there, kind of cream colored. It's not really wide enough. It's both cinder block. I think we just say that it's different. I think we say one side is ivory and one side is gray. Oof. Oof. Let's see if we can see better on this earlier. So we pull back and get wider. Oh, here we go. Here's a wider shot. I think that wall is painted one color. I think it is the color of the lights. You got those really cold fluorescents over the counter and those warm green fluorescents by the front door. Okay, just gonna have to live with it, I guess. Just going to have to live with it. Oh, I think it was this one, maybe. You know. And it goes this one. Okay. Okay. Who-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. So now we will turn on our grain. No. I lied. Now we're going to go at the clip level and finish balancing, finish color correcting. Yes. That is what we're going to do. Okay. And for this particular shot, because this is the one that I use primarily as the reference, you know, there's nothing really to do balance-wise. I might turn the contrast down a little bit. on these particular shots. Yeah. Okay. Now the next shot. Form in a vector scope. Now why do I have this open? Let's close that. There we go. And if I run my cursor over her skin, you can see all of her skin is just right along that skin tone line in the vector scope. So actually pretty good. So even though this is not quite the color we want, she is great, and so I don't want to do a whole lot to like mess that up. These different whites are different colors because the lights are different colors. Is there anything that would be actually like white? Like this would be whitish. It's pretty white. Top end is a little yellow maybe. So one thing that I might do is, we got to append the node graph here and delete the node that we had in there and then clean up. There we go. So one thing I might do on the clip balance is take a little yellow out of the gain on this side. Is it just me or is that doing nothing? Let's take a look at the shot of Tommy. So again, we'll go to the one closest to this insert. These are pretty drastically different. So let's just go to this one. And this gray wall is gray. All levels, color, contrast, everything looks okay. This shot for some reason gets real blue, but that's just this particular shot. So let's go here and let's append the node graph here and delete and cooler. So we'll just see that this is a different camera setup now that Roy has shown up. So we're going to append the node graph. We're going to delete the blank. Clean up the node graph there. Go to our clip balance. The levels and everything are all okay for the most part, but I got to warm this shot up. So I'm just going to do this while I'm looking at the... I mean, that did it, right? So I want to compare this to this, this to this. I think I could go even more. Okay. Everything's looking pretty gray in there. I'm going to adjust the exposure a little bit using the HDR, and I'm going to take the light down. Oh yeah, that helped a ton. That helped so much. And then I'm going to adjust the clip contrast, up the contrast a little bit. Okay, now compare that to this. This is a little more saturated is all. So we'll go to our clip Cinesat. Oh, because I'm on the HDR wheels. Got to be on the part. There we go. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Not too much. Not too much. Okay. And I'm going to go back to my exposure. I'm going to knock the exposure down just a smidge in the HDR. Just a global. Just knock it down just a little bit. All right. Two shot. Again, I'm going to the one closest to the insert. I'm going to append my node graph. Delete the default node. Clean up node graph. And I'm in my HDR wheels and we'll pull my exposure down just a little bit here. And I'm going to drop my shadows. I'm going to drop my light a little bit. Increase my highlights. Okay. I'm going to go to my clip contrast, and I'm going to actually turn the contrast down a little on this shot. And go back to my hang on. There we go. Her skin is right along that skin tone line. His skin is going to be a little red because he's just a little more red. Overall, this looks okay. It's going to look a lot warmer because, again, these warm fluorescents back there. This is why when you're on a major film set, you go through and you replace all of the existing lighting so it's all matching and all that stuff. But just weren't able to do that in this particular place. So, okay, so that's not bad. So flop that to this.